All right, ladies, doing a little work today, kind of wrapping things up on the 350X. So I thought I'd shoot a quick video, kind of like a little update. So I got the forks mounted up. I went ahead and put the fork guards on. Again, these are KTM 85 dirt bike fork guards. Some new decals. Looks pretty good. So they're all mounted up. Added some Showa decals on the forks. Remember, these are hard anodized black fork tubes. And those are the fork guards I put on. The One Industry decals. Oh, and I also added my front brake. Again, this is a KTM front brake. So got this thing mounted up. Works perfect. KTM. Just kind of threw it on there. It's not really the way it's going to be routed. When I route it, I will route it through here, but I just kind of threw it on for argument's sake. Also, I kind of made the mistake when I put the rotor on. If you guys are going to do the mod, reminder that the rotor actually goes on the inside. I had it on the outside before, but the caliper wouldn't fit, so I forgot I had to rotate it on the inside. So just a quick change real quick. If you are going to do the mod, just a reminder that the rotor actually mounts on the inside. And there's the brake caliper right there, all mounted up nice, perfect. One of the things I had to do is the caliper was off a little bit, so I had to add a couple of spacers in between the bracket and the caliper to get it to work right. So just a reminder, if you're going to do this mod, you probably have to add some spacers as well. So I put some on the upper part, 2 on the bottom, and then that fixed it pretty easy. Worked perfect after that. So it's kind of how it looks with the KTM brakes mounted on there. Came out pretty good. Doesn't rub, doesn't hit anything. Came out perfect. Fork guards on there. So it looks good. I also put my handlebars on. I went with 1 1/8 fatty bars, some Pro Taper bar mounts. So these are Pro Grip, Super Grip grips. Came out pretty good. A little bit softer than the normal ones. That's kind of how I like them. So again, the KTM brakes. Again, the KTM brakes mounted up perfect. One of the things also I wanted to share, I kind of glossed over this when I first did the update on the mods I was doing to the 350X. So again, this is a 1986 Honda 350X with 2006 KTM suspension. When you do that, it was highly recommended that you gusset the frame. So this actually is gusseted. I bought this Gusset Kit on TPC Trikes. TPC Trikes sells the Gusset Kit for the Honda 350X. I think it was only like 35 bucks or something. But basically it gussets the whole frame. So it comes with like this bracket here, or this gusset here, this gusset, this one, of course for both sides. These 2 pieces are part of the Gusset Kit. There's also a reinforcement part of the Gusset Kit, which was down here, that piece, for the back end. So we got the Gusset Kit all welded in. Came out pretty good. I don't need my welds all perfect as long as they're down secure. So I know it's not the prettiest of weld jobs, but it worked. And then kind of like close up the Gusset Kits. And while we were welding on the Gusset Kit, the Honda 350X, I don't know why, but the welds were kind of just crappy from the beginning. So we kind of filled in all the spaces on the frame. Like this neck used to have just an open space here. We filled all that in with material. We did the whole thing right here as well. Usually that's just an open piece right there. We filled that in. So all the way around, anything that was open on the frame, we filled in with material to kind of help reinforce it. So hopefully that'll be spot on, like right there. So if you're gonna do this mod with the fork conversion, you know, while you have the frame apart, you might as well do the Gusset Kit. Some nice reinforcement to the frame. And again, there's my rear swing arm. That's cut and extended 4 inches. The new carrier inside as well. This is about how far we extended it out. So, what else? So far I'm really pleased with the front end. Glad the way it came out. So, do some more work to it in a little bit, hopefully get this thing done. One of the things I did want to talk to people about, so people have asked me about setting the sag on dirt bikes and 3-wheelers. Yes, I do set sags on 3-wheelers. If setting the proper sag, if you don't have your sag set up or suspension set up right, there's just no way you could ride the bike to its full capacity. It's going to be too soft. It's not going to work right. So I'll kind of go over a quick part of like how to set the sag up on a 3-wheeler. Number one, you have to measure the frame or the suspension when it's free floating. So what I mean by that is, best way to do it, put the bike up and with your rear shock under no weight, kind of measure from your axle to any kind of reference point. But let's go from the axle to the top of this piece right there. And just for argument's sake, say the measurement from my axle to the top of that frame is 18 inches. So at 18 inches, free floating is a space you want to write down. And then what you want to do is put the bike back down. Now obviously it'd be more if you have the motor in here and the whole bike put together with the fuel tank. Now you'd want to measure, which is pretty much your static measurement, is with a bike under its own weight. So even without a motor, no fuel tank, I've lost, it's almost down to 17. So we've already lost an inch of suspension travel with just the frame. So imagine how much it's going to be when you have the motor, the fuel tank, all that stuff. So kind of what that means is if your rear shock, which is a shower shock, has 8 inches of travel, of suspension travel in its whole cycle, easiest way to explain it, you probably don't want to lose or use more than 1/3 of suspension travel with you, the bike, and everything way down. So what that means, if you got 8 inches of travel with you sitting on the bike and all your gear and everything, if you're down to say more than 3 inches, then your sag isn't set right. It's too heavy. You should be about 2 to 2.5 if you have 8 inches of rear suspension travel. So hope that makes sense. Also forgot to mention that once you do the static, you want to sit on the bike with you, your gear, your helmet, your boots, your whole riding gear, how you're going to ride the bike, and then remeasure it again. So that 17 that we have to probably drop to like a 16. So that means that that is not measured right, or not measured right, but not the sag isn't right. So that's kind of how you measure it. Once you do it, like say you're out, like say you're 3 inches below where you need to be, what you would do is tighten this up to where you need to be tightened, and also set your firm and your softness. And then you'd keep playing with it till you get it within that 2 to 2.5 inches. So if you have 8 inches of travel, you don't want the bike to drop more than 2.5 inches with you, your gear, and everything on it. two and a half inches would be pretty good. And then from there, you do the same thing with your front. If I were to set this sag from my front, I'd probably measure from my axle to my lower triple, and then do the whole thing all over again. Right now on this KTM suspension, I have it set, I think I have it at 6 clicks out for rebound and compression. I know the manual says it should be close to 12 or something like that. But I have it at 6 because I want it kind of firm. Once I put it all together and take it out on the road and do a test ride, I'll adjust as necessary. But just for right now, I have it at 6 rebound and 6 compression clicks out. So we'll see how that holds up. Kind of once I put everything together. So that's pretty much it. I did want to kind of show everybody the Gusset Kit. If you're gonna do this mod, I mean, the kit's only 39 bucks. You might as well put the Gusset Kit on the frame so you don't have a cracked frame, so it'll help with your jumping as well. So let's see, is there anything else? Probably later this week I'll start dropping the motor in there. I have 2 motors for it actually. This is the one that's probably going to go in there. I have a complete another one right there. I just have the internals out, or the guts out. I'm probably going to put this one. The top end is in this box. So I'll probably start putting all this stuff back together here in the next couple of days. Put the correct wheels and tires on. So again, KTM forks 2006 on a 1986 Honda 350X. Tapered bearings inside the steering tube. Gusset Kit. And one last thing, if your suspension or your sag is set right, that would be the difference between you going through the whoops and hammering down and kind of floating over the top of the whoops, or you hammering down and you kind of sinking to the bottom and the bike, you know, kind of throwing you off of the bike because it's the whoops are just kicking your butt. So when your suspension set up right, you hammer down, you'd fly through the whoops and bounce over the tops. If your suspension is not set up right, it's going to be painful when you're going over the whoops. So those are the big differences between a properly set up suspension and a poorly set up suspension. Regardless of the motor size, a lot of people think, hey, I can put a 500X motor in here or whatever and just hammer down. But what's the point of putting all of that into your motor and you can't use it because your suspension is way off? So if you have any questions about the suspension, let me know. I know I just kind of threw it together really quick. I just kind of thought of it at the last end. But if you have any questions about how to set up the suspension, just let me know. I'll answer as best as I can.